Let's talk about some drama. Now, I don't know about you, but it seems like recently the art community has just been popping up with new art dramas, art kerfuffles every single other weekend. Art drama that's being forced down my throat like I'm a little toddler, man. Now, obviously, the big drama has been the cooling racism, a little debacle, debauchery, and I will get to that later, but there was actually another post, another little appetizer drama that really got my ruffles feathered. And this little appetizer drama really just highlights the state at which the art community finds itself in, and just shows how much of its identity it's lost over really just these past 2 years, in my opinion, obviously. Now, there's an artist by the name of Cinderlove. Sorry for butchering the name, but basically they posted on Instagram a nice fan art of Miles from Into the Spider-Verse. I think it looks stunning, but if you go down to the comments, you'll find a couple of people saying that, yo, why is the brother whitewashed? Now, majority of the comments are, obviously giving some nice praise and some nice comments to the artist, but there was a good select amount of people who have gone the other way, talking about, hey, what'd you do to my boy Miles? And they weren't even speaking like me. Some of them just straight up called the piece ugly. Some of them just said he's straight up whitewashed. Some of them decided that it was their life's mission to prove that this piece was whitewashed. Oh, brother. But if you scroll a couple posts up, you'll see that this artist, Cinderlove, has made a Gwen fan art. And in the description, she talks about how she used Miles' dark color palette for this fan art, and on the Miles fan art, she used Gwen's lighter pastel color palette. Wow, the gears are turning in your head probably. Isn't it crazy how lighting could maybe affect how skin could be portrayed? Same goes for art style. The sort of pastel-y vibe that Cinderlove has applied to the painting could affect how Miles' skin is portrayed. Now, there's not anything inherently wrong with calling out other artists for whitewashing. I mean, there's probably been some artists who've been butchering people's skin and, getting away with a little questionable ethical dilemmas for a while now. And only recently, with this new wave of being proactive, they've finally been getting at least a little bit of backlash and starting to change their drawing habits. But, big but, we've gotten to the point where people are just policing other people's art so hard that genuinely I feel like newer artists would feel terrified of posting their art. We've gotten to the point where people just feel so comfortable saying whatever they want on other people's artwork that it just feels like there's this negative aura around the art community that once didn't exist. The art community used to be the most wholesome, the most loving, the most supportive community that I knew. And that community is still there, but there's just been too many incidents, dramas, beefs, just stupid drama that feels completely unnecessary to me, and it sort of hinders my perception of the community. Like, even Cinderlove here chooses to just be outwardly negative towards Sandra's art, just out of the blue by two-handing this comment right here. And to me, it's just like, why does one feel the need to tear other artists down to praise someone else? Like, it's okay to address the controversy Sam has been in and just leave it at that, but to just passively aggressively sneak diss his art itself is just quite strange to me. And by the way, this doesn't seem like the jokey banner that I actually like to see, but instead genuine disdain and negativity, in my opinion. Also in my opinion, and this could be totally wrong, but it definitely seems like, especially in Cinderlove's old work, that they were inspired by Sam's art. I mean, even here, Cinderlove clearly follows Sam's work enough to know about his OC Lin. So to, again, just be outwardly negative towards another artist is just weird to me. And just because I sort of flame Cinderlove here doesn't mean I stand by what I said before about their Miles fan art. I still stand by that. But obviously, there's nothing cancelable here with the sneak dissing, and I'll still follow Cinderlove and support their artwork because Cinderlove isn't just straight hating to Sandra's art's face on his posts. And I don't like to think the worst of people based on a single comment. In fact, and that is the whole point, I want to stop seeing just insta cancellations on people. Luckily, on my channel, I haven't experienced it too badly, and I generally think the way y'all banter with me, the way y'all comment is funny as fuck. And obviously, there are so many of you that just support my art and say really nice things, which I truly appreciate. I read all of your comments, even if I can't respond to them all. I'm almost always see all of them. So I just want to say thank you to the ones who are cool, supportive, and funny. But every once in a while, there are comments that I see that are just straight up they're not banter in any way, they're just mean-spirited and hostile. And that's basically the main crux of the video. People in the art community nowadays, especially on Twitter and TikTok, holy crap, those places are really hostile. They just feel so open to spew negativity, even when that negativity could just not exist. They might have art that you personally don't like, but that does not mean that you have the right to just give unsolicited hate, negativity, critique. And let me just tell you, out of my very limited experience actually working in the art industry as a 2D artist, any sort of hostility, any sort of beef, quarrels, that shit will get sorted out straight, immediately. There is no room for having any sort of silly behavior. And personally, all the people I've met in the actual art industry have been so nice, so kind, so supportive, and that is the true essence of what it means to be an artist. And I think the online sphere is sort of getting it wrong, and we're sort of losing that due to the just openness, the entitlement people feel to say whatever they want on people's posts. If there's one thing you take away from the video, is just next time you think, oh, I might need to comment whatever my feelings.
What did he say?
Think about, is this negative? Is this a critique in any way? Or is this generally just problematic and hurtful? And another thing is, I feel like that is amplified on bigger accounts. If you're big enough, all hate, it's perfectly a-okay, no matter what. And I don't think that's really fair to anybody. I mean, nobody deserves to have just negativity on their community. Unless it's warranted, obviously. Which brings me to Coolin. So, if you don't know, Coolin in a recent, now deleted video, made a, let's say, interesting comment in one of her side profile tutorials, where she basically has this little visual talking about how the chin should never cross this angled line that she draws up, which connects the chin to the point of the nose. But the comment that really got her into some turbulence is obviously the gorilla looking MF comment. And do you know who has features where the chin protrudes from that line? The Crimson Chin! Oh, God damn it, be serious, man. Come on, serious. Okay, sorry about that. And guess who has features where the chin can line up with the nose? Black people. And obviously the connection there is quite problematic, to say the least. Very generalized tutorial aside, people could have possibly moved on from that. The fact that she even had that comment there is crazy, and I genuinely have no idea, no clue what she was thinking. Now, call me naive, but I don't think she's a full-blown racist. Like, let's not judge people's character on the instance of their worst behavior, but the fact that she has been like hush-hush and not even addressed it in the slightest is pretty insulting to her audience, who deserves at least an explanation of what the hell was going on through her head. I'll promise to do better and maybe be a little bit less insensitive. And to me, ignoring this, in fact, makes the racism allegations look worse, way worse than it needs to be. Okay, so we all agree, gorilla looking MF, bad like generalization tutorial, over with. There's a second aspect to this controversy, or whatever you want to call it, that I actually want to talk about. For months now, before this recent incident, people were clowning Coolin for basically always drawing the same people. And with this recent drama, obviously people are feeling pretty vindicated with the clownage that was being thrown her way. However, honestly, this is an area where I think artists have gone too far with the negativity. And I'm just trying to tie this back into the general topic of being hating ass artists on the internet. Is drawing very similar art / faces over and over again a crime? What is the charge?
Eating a meal, a succulent Chinese meal.
Like, there are thousands and thousands of artists who draw in one way because they still find fulfillment drawing that way. And who are we? Well, not me, but it's really not anyone's place to police what people like to draw. That is really what matters, because at the end of the day, I'll let people draw what they like, and that will keep them an active part of the art community. There's just been too much politicking and art shaming and art rules that have been placed on artists, when art itself is a medium to just express yourself. There's not supposed to be any rules. Well, for the most part anyways. If their expression is to draw pretty Pinterest girls, then I don't think they deserve hate for it. And if you still think it's a crime, then I guess lock me up too. I mean, the past couple of posts on my IG have been somewhat diverse, but if you scroll back to when I was really grinding to improve, you can see that I basically started off drawing exclusively the same Pinterest girl portrait. Luckily, I did not receive any negative comments about drawing the same thing over and over again, maybe because my Instagram was relatively small at the time, or because this was like 2 years ago, but here I am in 2023 drawing more men and more POC than ever out of my own self-enlightenment, and not because I was bullied into drawing diversity. And I feel like there's also some just hypocrisy coming from certain people in the "you must draw everyone and everything" camp. Because clearly there's a lot less backlash and negativity towards people who only draw women. Like, I hate to bring up other artists into this, but Ross predominantly draws anime women. But you don't hear people crying on the streets that there's a lack of diversity in his art. Well, first of all, he's like the most wholesome, bubbly guy there is, so if you genuinely spend your time hating on him, straight to jail. Prison time is what you deserve. And secondly, basically the point is that it's fine that people choose to draw specific groups of people, and writing comments like "draw blank person for once" or "draw like this instead" will only just make people engage with the community less. Like, if Colleen all of a sudden went and drew one black person, would that all of a sudden remove the negative perception you have of her? Like, oh my goodness, racism is no more. And then she'll still probably just end up drawing her typical white manhwa style after. So you see, the logic in bullying people into drawing stuff they don't actively draw isn't really logicking. Let them figure out on their own how fun and rewarding it is to draw some diversity every once in a while. Trust me, that's how I did it. And trust me, the art community itself has made some good progress getting representation and diversity in the past couple of years, but I think that was a more natural evolution than this toxic art shaming that's been going around recently. I think the way to make positive changes isn't to have illustrators change what they like to draw to fit the needs of you, but rather to amplify artists who represent LGBTQ, POC, and other minorities in their art, because that's what they like to do. Like, I love seeing all the new artists drawing more minorities, gender fluid characters, and all these smaller communities of people, and giving them the representation that they deserve. For example, that diversity in games, especially diversity in women and how they were portrayed, was absolutely shambolic, and well, pretty heavily appeals to the male gaming audience, if you know what I mean. And you can even see it in newer games like Overwatch and Apex Legends, where game studios are hiring more diverse artists, and the result is just more diversity in those games, period. Even the furry community has grown into a strong, unique group of artists. Like, even though I meme it, and look, it's so funny to me, like, I sincerely mean, there's nothing but respect and admiration from my end towards them, because I just think about all the stereotyping that they get, all the stigma around them, and yet they still have such a strong community going. Okay, that's enough gas given towards the furry community. Anyways, I would like to say to younger artists out there, if you are the ones commenting just random trash on other people's art, sneak dissing them, passively aggressively talking down on other people's art, you will not have a long career in the game/movie art industries. And maybe you should consider stop being such a hating ass bitch. At least be a funny hating ass bitch. And that way you still might be able to slide with the community. I just think that recently the art community has lost that super wholesome, supportive image that I once had of it. Like, there's just been too many dramas, too many people not minding their own damn business, and just way too much art shaming and negativity for me to have that ultra positive perception of the community as a whole. You guys though, y'all tight as fuck.